And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, our Week 11 reaction show. Paul joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and Zach Bloomquist, the best producer in the game, with a couple guests
flex on him,
in the studio today.
Yeah,
our good friends,
we got our buddies here
Ryan
today,
and
man.
Michael join us for this episode. They won't be on the mics. Well, Mike had his time on the mic before, but luckily for many people.
Hey, we got an open chair.
We do have an open chair. We do have an open chair.
I mean, if they want to go check out our old college...
our old NCAA predictions video. The worst moment in the history of the Paul Farrington Show.
We go from 1.9K subs to like 0.9K subs.
When me and Jack broadcasted live from my uncle's garage on my computer's webcam with Mike in his room, cameras right on his face. Horrible video.
That was single A. I was single A.
Go check it out. Yeah.
Triple.
You know, you grow. You grow as a show. And you would be able to see his Louisville flag, though.
We're growers, not showers.
Growers, not showers on this show. Yes. The cap of the week.
That's not
streak comes to an end. Hey, no, but we celebrate.
Yeah, you're right.
We can look back and smile because you made a lot of people really rich. And unfortunately, our philosophy is always put it all back in.
Hey, look, it's tough to bat 1,000. You can bat 800, but you can't bat 1,000.
I know. But the way we play, you double now. We start over. Here we are.
I got a lot coming up next week.
There's a lot
coming up next week. Yeah.
This is the revenge game.
A team who just got blown up in New Mexico State too.
Hey, how about Notre Dame back in the playoff picture, Ziggy? Notre Dame, big win.
Notre Dame is back in the Pop-Tart Bowl picture.
Yes, okay.
Or if not the Pop-Tart Bowl, I've also heard reliable sources said the ReliaQuest Bowl is also on the table.
How did this happen?
I think I'd take you guys in your bowl game. You'll be -2 against like Oak State, and
I'd love. We were talking if LSU is in there. Would love that. Would love to get LSU and Brian Kelly. That would be.
We would get murdered.
9,000 all-purpose yards for Jaden Daniels against you guys in one game.
Yeah, but Jaden Daniels is just like he's stat padding, right? They saw the Bo Nix 6 first half touchdowns, and they're like, "Oh shoot, we got to keep our guy in the conversation." It's all garbage.
We have a really fun show coming up today. We're going to talk a little bit about CJ Stroud and the Texans win again. I mean, this guy is helping out our channel unlike anyone else. Jack's Steelers unfortunately fall to the Browns. We'll get Jack's reaction to that. The Packers win which was unexpected, but
it was a good win.
A good win. Jordan Love looks good. You did. I think you lone wolfed it.
No, I think Zach too. We said the Chargers were terrible.
Well, then you would have thought. Then you would have thought that you would have lost.
Yeah, right.
Wait, no. What are you talking about? I'm the greatest picker.
Anytime touchdown picker.
I am a great anytime.
You're in last in the game picks.
Yeah,
by far.
I'm 2 for 2 today on anytime touchdown.
You are. You've been hot.
I want to hear it.
And you can follow all of Zach's game picks with Sharps. Our new friends over at Sharps, they securely link to your favorite sports books like BetMGM, Caesars, and FanDuel, so you can post your favorite verified bets and betting content. Sharps makes it easy to separate hot bettors. We'll still say that Jack. Well, maybe Zach.
I mean, overall,
Zach might now be the hot better of the show.
I was cold as hell yesterday.
From the squares. See a bet you like, click it, and boom, it'll open in your corresponding sportsbook. Click the link in our description. Use the referral code PRFV414 to join the Sharps community. Please link your sportsbook too. That's what really matters to us. Download the app, use the referral code, and link your sportsbook. We cannot wait for you to bet along with us because we've been pretty hot this entire season. And college basketball is right around the corner. The real meat of college basketball is right around the corner. But for now, we remain an NFL show. The Lions. That's what we'll start off with today because I'm sitting there. No, I'm not clapping for the Lions.
The pride.
Not as a Viking fan. It was a great win. I'm sitting there with about 4 minutes left in the Detroit game saying, wow, look at this. The Vikings are about to play Sunday Night Football with the chance to get within one game in the loss column of the Lions here. Detroit, the Bears defense looked great. I was ready to come on here and make 1985 Bears jokes and say Justin Fields, who had a pretty good day, where's he going to fit in by the end of this offseason to the Bears' future plans? And next thing you know, Jared Goff in that Lions offense with Montgomery, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Laporta, so many weapons. When they get going, they're tough to stop. A crazy comeback win. You just don't see the Lions do these things normally.
Yeah, I was sitting down for dinner yesterday with my good buddy from college, big Lions fan. Only Lions fan I know.
Me too.
No, I
know another.
His name is Alex, and he's like, he blew out his candle on dessert on his little cupcake. He's like, my one wish in this world is a Lions dub tomorrow, 1-0 every week. We get to Vegas, win the Super Bowl, and I hoist that trophy with my guys at the end of the year. So,
he wants to hoist the trophy.
I think he's the reason they came and won this game. But I was stunned because we'll give the Lions their flowers. It's a tough game, divisional game. They were down and out when they came back and found a way to win. They looked
horrible.
But they looked bad. Like, take away some fluky 12-point comeback in the final 3 minutes, and we're sitting here talking about how the Lions could be potential frauds, and they got blown by Baltimore.
But that's the thing, that good teams in the league, they find ways to win these games, and Detroit never does that. Today they do, and that's where I sit back and go, wow, it sucks, because I thought we were going to be a game out going into tonight's match, but yeah, like the Lions find a way to get it done. Ziggy, did you know, Adam Schefter put this out there, for the first time since 1969, the Lions and Browns have each won 7 of their first 10 games.
The Lions are 8-2.
Lions are 8-2. It's crazy. They're right there.
That wasn't the only historic thing today either. Today was the first time in NFL history that a team with a +3 turnover margin and a 40-minute or more time of possession lost the game.
Of course.
So, because it's the Bears, right? So they have to have a loss like this.
It was a great loss for the Bears. Needed.
We've talked about this on numerous occasions, right? The one flaw in the Detroit Lions, if there is a flaw, is we've seen the potential for Jared Goff to play kind of poorly and be the reason they're going to lose a football game. Mm-hmm. And for the most part today, he was sloppy. 3 interceptions. It took a while to get going, and here we are. They're down by 12 with 3 minutes to go.
And that's my concern for them going into bigger matchups. And look, their schedule, I have it right here. They got the Packers, the Saints, the Bears, the Broncos. Then they close with Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings. Not a lot of really, really tough matchups for them, so they should be fine to coast into the playoffs. But if you go up against a Dallas or a San Francisco and the Eagles, you need good Jared Goff. And we've seen enough good Jared Goff this year that you can be confident he'll show up. But if they do flop, like the Ravens game or today, I'm not sure that team is good enough. But we'll stay positive on them, because ultimately this is a great day for Lions fans to say, okay, we showed some resiliency here.
Divisional opponent, backs against the wall. They came back. They won 8-2, leading the division by a couple of games. Stadium's rocking today. We'll give them their flowers. They deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a bad game, an unusually bad game for both sides of the ball. Like, Brian Branch had a couple critical penalties, right? There was that defensive holding call that extended the Bears' drive. There was that illegal contact penalty, like right out of the gate in the second half. That doesn't happen most of the time. The tackling was horrendous. That doesn't happen most of the time. They don't turn the ball over four times most of the time. So there's not a lot of worry. I mean, every year, right? Like, one of the top teams just has a bad game against a bad opponent. It happens. It's hard to win in the NFL. Justin Fields is one of those players that'll just put up 100 rushing yards. So I agree there's not a lot to be concerned about. The thing to be concerned about is that Matt Eberflus is now 0-9 against the NFC North.
Dude, the loss for Bears fans, I know most Bears fans are probably sitting back and are low-key happy about losing the game for the draft position. But still, it's really concerning when you see 17 points in the fourth quarter for Detroit. Some of the play calling at the end there, not trying to win the game. Like, Justin Fields has his past 3 games. Well, let's not count the Viking game. His past 2 games beat the crap out of the Commanders, and he looked really good for the majority of today. It could be worth by the end of the season looking and saying, all right, where are the Bears sitting on the Justin Fields? And we'll have to wait till the end of the year to really look at this from a broader point of view. But he's starting to make a case for being a longer-term quarterback.
No,
you're shaking your head.
If they don't take, the Panthers are going to give him the number one overall pick. Yeah, you've got to take Drake May. Okay. You got to take one of the quarterbacks. Like, I'm sorry, Justin Fields has not shown enough. I think, you don't trade him for a 7th-round pick. You don't do what the 49ers did. I guess, what did Purdy actually go for? I don't remember. It was more than the 7th rounder. But, no, Justin Fields is not a guy that.
All right, so you're done.
Today, on the first drive of the game, in the Lions-Bears game, I was like, oh, Justin Fields is back. He's the man.
He looked really good.
20-yard scramble, lead him right down.
I want to see how he plays the rest of the season. You probably have to take Caleb Williams or Drake May if you get that Panthers selection number 1, but he's looked good the past couple of weeks. You have to wait around and see.
Bo next.
Maybe the Heisman winner. Okay, let's go on to C.J. Stroud. And the Texans do it again. I wanted to come in here at halftime of the Texans game. I was ready to come in here and say C.J. Stroud should be the MVP frontrunner. At 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, they look explosive. Big first half against Arizona. And then second half, you lose some of that steam, a few bad interceptions. But ultimately, the Texans come away with yet another win. And you sit back and I just want to go to the MVP race for a second. You have Lamar in there, who's been really good. Mahomes has been good this year. I mean, we know the value he brings to the Chiefs, and Jalen Hurts has had a good season. But when you look at what quarterbacks are doing, given the teams that they have, CJ Stroud is doing something have we ever seen this from a rookie quarterback? I'm not sure.
I mean, I kind of want to just piss off Texans fans again. I mean, he threw three interceptions.
No. You know that was impressive.
He couldn't even cover. 3 interceptions, couldn't even cover.
Texans fans were so mad at Jack after the last episode when he has a huge win on the road against Joe Burrow, and he's like, I feel like the Bengals gave this game away more than Stroud won it.
Look, ultimately, to win games in the NFL is what you want to do, and he did that once again. To me, this looked like a little bit of more of a rookie performance with 3 interceptions.
In the second half, maybe. First half, he was unbelievable.
But the thing is, though, even in a game where he didn't look overly fantastic from start to finish, he still has, 340 yards
2
through
touchdowns.
the air and 2 touchdowns. And wins the game, which is, continues to impress me, for sure. I apologize for last week.
Think about the Texans. We could go back to this every week if we wanted to. At the beginning of the year, we were sitting here saying the Texans are going to be losing a top 5 pick because they traded for Will Anderson. And now it's like, holy crap, they're 6-4 with the potential. Next week, they play Jacksonville, and the AFC South
in Houston. They play them in Houston,
to some degree on the line in that game. The Texans have a much easier schedule remaining than Jacksonville. If you were to pick a winner right now, I'm picking Houston to win that division. It's crazy. But yeah, I think Stroud right now has to be a top 3 MVP candidate. Would you agree with that, Ziggy?
Go Ziggy.
I mean, look, MVP is a narrative-driven award. This is just true, right? It's one of those things where you have to be very good. I'm not saying that just anyone can win it. CJ Stroud has the story, right? There aren't a lot of the top quarterbacks who you're expecting to win it, like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. They all sort of have their own problems. CJ Stroud is fresh. He's exciting. He's putting together marquee games. He's taking a team that no one expected to do anything and is winning. I firmly expect to see him at plus 1,500 or lower this week. I don't think he's going to enter as a front runner, right? No, Tua and Mahomes, they're still going to be up there. But he's playing really well. And at a certain point, if he can keep this up for the rest of the season, if he finishes with he's on pace for 32 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, 4,500 yards, that's an MVP looking season.
I mean, I've said this about Stroud before a couple times, that he has a chance to win this award if he wins it by its literal definition, being the most valuable player. Mm-hmm. Because you take Stroud off of Houston, and it's quite obvious. They are nowhere near what they are. He's making Tank Dell. Dalton Schultz is rejuvenated. This team looks like a team who can win playoff games in the AFC, and that's because of him single-handedly. I do think it'll go to somebody like a Mahomes or a Hurts, but if you just go by the definition of most valuable player, not the best team, the MVP, there's a serious case.
If they win the AFC South, it's genuinely shocking. It would within the NFL circles.
I had Houston going 4-13.
And look at this too. Think about as this year's gone on.
I'm watching my quarterback today. He's horrendous.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to that.
Stroud's a million times better than him.
Think about the weapons on Houston and how they are. Also, what we always compliment CJ Stroud on is that he gets better each and every week. It seems. So are the guys around him right now. The skill position players. Singletary the past 2 weeks has been a revelation in the running game. Where's that been all year? And Tank Dell. Another 150-yard game today. He's been sensational for 3 straight weeks. Noah Brown. It is kind of fun watching this Houston offense, even though they do have spells like the second half today where they really didn't do anything. When they're on, they can fire away with anyone in the AFC. I was waiting for a pause moment right there. That was totally a moment coming there.
We had too many.
They can go toe for toe with anyone offensively in the AFC, and that brings in the broader question of, wow, can this team go on a playoff run? Because if you can match the Chiefs, if you can match the Ravens in these games, now the Houston defense isn't of the same quality as those teams, but again, it's all there for them.
Rob, I mean, go Ziggy.
I was going to say, let's say they win the division. They have to win they have to beat the Jaguars at home next week, right? There's no question about that.
Yeah, who looked really good today.
Great today.
Yeah, but they beat the Jaguars before. They can beat them again. Let's say they do that and win the division. You look at the teams that they might be hosting. And the teams competing for that 5 seed in the AFC all seem kind of beatable. You've got the Steelers. We know what happens when the Texans play the Steelers. You've got the Browns. The Browns won't have Deshaun Watson. You've got the Raiders. You've got the Buffalo Bills, who are so up and down that you have no idea what could happen. You've got the Jaguars, who we're assuming they've already beaten. And you know that Houston crowd is going to be exciting. Like, I would not want to go there and play a playoff game. So, yeah, if you're talking about their ability to win a playoff game, I think they have to win the division. Going on the road to Miami or Kansas City or Baltimore or even like Jacksonville could be tough. But if they're hosting, they can win a playoff game. And from there, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Who really scares you from the Browns, Steelers, Colts, Bengals now without Burrow, and Bills? I mean, it would be the Bills if Josh Allen gets in. And that's probably it. The Browns' defense is legit. But if you're Houston, I think you're really comfortable with any of those teams except Buffalo.
I mean, Stroud took all these guys in, right? I forgot Noah Brown.
Noah Brown.
Bumming the Cowboys. Oh, come into Houston.
He's amazing.
Come to the better part of the state. We'll take a team with strays and vagabonds. We'll go to the playoffs.
Yeah, the Texans and Vikings have been the best stories to me in the NFL this season. Speaking of the Browns and your team, the Steelers, I think we perfectly predicted that game. Am I right?
I said 14-13 Steelers.
And I was 13. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was 13-10 Browns in this one. We said it'll be an ugly game to watch. There were 17 punts.
We blew it. Like we blew it. You both
blew it a million times. It was disgusting football. I remember sitting there and I turned around to these guys when we were watching the games and I said, I feel like every couple minutes, me or my dad goes, oh, that should have been picked. Oh, should have been picked right there. And at the end of the game, I truly felt that when the offenses had the ball on their own 20-yard line, I thought the defenses were in better position to pick it off and win the game by not having to move a yard and kick a field goal.
I was dying at the beginning of this game. I've never once laughed harder when one of my brother's friends, who's a big Steelers fan, was over watching the game. And the first drive, Cleveland punted from our 43-yard line. And my brother's friends, and his name is Anthony, he goes, I mean, the Browns just got the ball back at midfield. And he was right, because we got the ball on our own 1-yard line, went 3 and out, punted, and the Browns caught the ball in midfield. But Jaylen Warren's a bright spot. I thought he was awesome. And that was about it. I thought Kenny Pickett looked really, really concerning, missed a lot of throws, looked terrible. The play calling at the end of the game was very bad. In a position to win, didn't move the ball. It was just disappointing. I mean, the defense was good.
We can hit the Steelers first, then we'll go over to the Browns here. I'm watching this game, Jack, and you know we have supported Kenny Pickett a lot on this show.
He was really, really, really.
I do think as I'm watching Kenny Pickett week after week right now in this offense, there's a lot of excuses with Matt Canada and what's been going on there. At some point, my opinion now is that the Steelers are going to be looking for a quarterback.
We should trade Watt for Kyler Murray straight up.
Kenny Pickett. Remember the whole Kenny Pickett situation too, because the expectations are high given that he's a first rounder. Probably should not have been a first round pick. He was in a weak quarterback draft class. Pittsburgh kid who the Rooneys like, keep him in the area. So already overdrafted. The expectations were probably a little higher than they should have been to begin with Pickett.
It's a cool story.
No, it's a great story. But every single week I'm watching this offense and it's like a little 3-yard out route, and I see Najee or Warren get smashed by someone. Right?
Warren was awesome.
Well, no, he was good.
The reason
but I'm just saying the offense in general it's just brutal to watch, horrible. And he misses a lot of throws too. It's not like you can blame it on someone else. I can't have a guy who doesn't play for the first 3 quarters and then say, oh, he's had a couple comebacks this year.
Today,
let's keep it going.
Didn't even throw for 100 yards.
He had 106 final, I think.
But the total passing yards were 77 after you factor out the sacks.
You
want to hear something embarrassing?
Yeah, please.
You know who has the same number of passing touchdowns as Kenny Pickett this year? I'm going to wait until I go up on the screen to drop the ball.
I'm trying to think of who's been in who's
No. You want to hear?
What, DeVito?
Tommy DeVito.
Oh my God.
They both have 6. Tommy DeVito has more career games with multiple passing touchdowns than Kenny Pickett.
Pickett has 1 touchdown in the last 4 games. And it's abysmal.
It's doubly abysmal when someone on a day like today, you had a functional running game, right? Now, Warren looked great. The pressure should have been off Pickett a little bit. You know, he's got some receivers. And I think it's concerning. You know, Paul, you pointed out people are worried about Matt Canada, and I think that's fair. You should be worried if in the second year of your quarterback, after looking this bad, you don't feel like you have a fair idea about how good they are. That's a complete organizational failure.
And we got the ball back late.
Multiple times.
One time in Browns territory, got sacked, took a horrible sack, ended up punting. Browns go up by 3. Then we get the ball back with about a minute something. And we take 12 seconds off the clock and punt it right back. Like our running game is great all day with Jalen Warren. We don't run the ball once towards the end of the game. We get sacked, throw an incompletion, take 12 seconds, I'll get back to Cleveland. It was just horrendous down the stretch.
No, really, really bad.
And Cleveland with DTR also stinks.
Yeah, no.
They stink.
Yeah.
They stink. They're not good.
I was going to say, like you said the game went how we predicted, and I think on the Steelers side, it sort of did.
Both teams.
But for me, the Browns it was surprising to me how the game played out for the Browns, and I'll tell you why. I thought it was going to be their run game. They got it done. Right, we were talking earlier, the Browns are leading in yards per carry. They got the better run blocking offensive line. They were completely outgained rushing. It was 172 Steelers, 96 Browns. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson played okay. Now, he wasn't great, right? I mean, 165 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception is not an exciting stat line. But he made the throws he needed to make. He played middle of the road. And the game-winning drive he left was mostly him throwing the ball. It's not like he was
got the job done.
No, he was good. Game-winning drive, he was good. Like, he was making throws. I'm like, oh, Pickett just can't.
And this is also his second start. Like, the guy, if he came out here today and stunk, you'd say, okay, you're playing against the Steelers defense, AFC North game. It's to be expected. But he got the job done at the end.
Yeah.
And the Browns are set up really nicely. They've got Denver, the Rams, Jacksonville, Chicago, Houston, the Jets, and the Bengals.
They honestly, though, they could lose anybody as well.
No, they could, but really with the defense they have, you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 5 games where they should probably be favorites just from their defense alone. And they're set up at this point to probably, I mean, look, you could make a run at the AFC North if you go 5-2 down the stretch.
Yeah, the winner of this game was in good position to do that.
But it just felt like when Watson went down, you lost all serious threat from the Browns.
Yeah, it's Baltimore's division.
Yeah. But again, Cleveland with a big win there. And I do want to say for Pickett, no one has really, except for Lamar Jackson, gone into Cleveland and had a good showing this year. So it was already an uphill battle, but he
was overly bad.
No, he was really bad.
Overly bad. Like disappointingly bad.
Do you think if you go to the playoffs as a wild card, get blasted in the first round?
We'll be a 7 seed,
probably,
like we are right now. Go to, I think it's Baltimore right now. Is the 2, right?
Yes. Kansas City's the 1. Miami or Baltimore would be the 2.
We'd beat Baltimore like 13-10 in a crazy defensive game. Go to Kansas City, lose 49-0.
But let's say you lose to Baltimore or Miami in the first round. Are the Steelers looking for a quarterback this offseason?
I would love to.
So you're done.
I want to draft Bo Nix.
You're over this.
Yeah. I think he's terrible. It sucks to say. He's a Pittsburgh guy. I like him. I don't think he's good.
He's had some time too. This is by the end of this, it'll be about 2 years. So.
And he's had his game-winning drives. They're cute. They're fun. But I'm done. Mm-hmm. I want Bo Nix. I want Bo.
I will just say, I would not be so quick to crown the Ravens the leaders of the division for the rest of the year, and I'll just tell you why. So the Browns split with the Ravens, right? So the thing that the next tiebreaker after that, if they have the same record, is divisional record. The Browns have played very well in the division this year, right? They beat the Steelers. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Bengals. So right now they're 3-2. That could be 4-2. That could end up being better than how the Ravens finish.
Where the Ravens lost to Steelers once. They lost to the Browns once. So the Browns, the Ravens will probably be 4-2 as well. What's the next tiebreaker?
So after that, you've got win-loss in common games. Right, we'll have to just see how the rest of the season plays out. But it's not impossible for the Browns to be able to win the division.
Could you imagine if the AFC playoff picture was like the Chiefs, Dolphins, Browns, and Texans hosting games?
Well, that's what we were saying
predicted
today.
That?
I'm like,
is that you? Oh my gosh!
I'm like, imagine today, like if we had won today, I'm like, imagine a world. You look at the AFC playoff bracket. It says 1 Kansas City, like 2 Miami, 3 Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's
a bunch of nonsense.
But now with Burrow gone, and the way the Bills don't make it, the Chiefs are just sitting back here going, "Are you kidding me right now? Is this a joke?"
And boy, you look at remaining strength of schedule, right? Like the Ravens go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers, host the Rams, go to the Jaguars, go to the 49ers, host the Dolphins, host the Steelers.
It could be the Browns division.
Meanwhile, the Browns, They play the Jaguars, Texans, Bengals, Bears, Broncos, Jets, Rams.
Are the Browns winning the AFC North?
The Browns have a real shot at winning the AFC North because their schedule is super easy.
Smiling.
I don't think
Zach should be grinning ear to ear listening to all this.
I don't think Baltimore loses to the Chargers or Jaguars.
They could.
I think they lose to San Francisco, not to the Jaguars or Chargers. Jeez. The Chargers are terrible.
Well, speaking of the Chargers, this is our last game here. The Chargers, what a horrible loss to go into Lambeau and lose to the Packers 23-20. Now, Packers fans, and we know that we've had a Packer crowd for a little while.
This is big if they can be like decent again now because get some more viewers.
But this is a great day for Packers fans because Jordan Love had his best game of the season. This is what you wanted if you're Packers fans. I know a couple weeks ago, Brian Gutekunst called out Jordan Love, and Packers fans were really up to here. They were saying we need to see better quarterback play or it's over. In the past few weeks, Jordan Love really has turned it around. I know that they didn't win last weekend, but they're 2-1 over their last 3. Today he finishes 27 for 40, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good performance. And what did he do today that the Packers haven't done all year long? He had the touchdown drive to take the lead, basically to win the game. And we haven't seen that. We didn't see that against Atlanta. We didn't see that against the Broncos, against the Raiders. So many times this year, we've sat back and said, wow, Packers could be really good if they had just had a couple things go their way differently at the end of games. Today, they get it done. Are we seeing a turnaround? The Packers are 4-6. If the Vikings lose to the Broncos tonight,
which they will.
No, we won't. But if they do, they'll be one back of the 7th seed. So it's like, you can look at this and say the defense held the Chargers offense to only 20 points a week after they light up Detroit. This is a good day to be a Packer fan.
You know what's super promising, too, is Jordan Love, even though Green Bay lost last week to Pittsburgh on the road, Jordan Love played a good game. Like, he made a lot of throws that game, had a lot of drives that I haven't seen most of this year. And now he comes home and follows it up with an even, probably a better performance than what he put on last week. Just to see him continue that bit of success. And now, like you said, as opposed to last week when he threw the pick in the end zone, he wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good day to be a Packer fan, unlike me.
And then, sadly for the Packers, Aaron Jones carted off the field today. Looks like his season should be over.
No, that's not what they're saying,
really?
actually.
I was going to say.
The preliminary scan said the ACL, it looks good.
Oh,
they don't know for sure yet, but there's a lot of optimism. He'll probably be missing a few weeks. But LaFleur said they're expecting to have him back this season.
Oh,
it doesn't look like it's going to be too
bad.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, even as a Viking fan, you never want to see someone cart off the field tearing the ACL.
Hey, drink some beer, have some cheese. It's a good day.
It's a good day to be a Packer fan. And you know what? There was one thing that annoyed me at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys caught this, but the Packers had a 3rd and 6, I believe it was, around there between the 40 and 50, their own 40-50. And they just ran up the middle and gave the ball back to the Chargers. I was kind of disappointed in that play call not to go and win it there. I was upset with LaFleur there. Is that justified, or you think in those situations it's fine, just run up the middle, make the Chargers use their last time out? There's like a minute 50 left or something. Go win the game, right?
I'll yield to Ziggy. I didn't watch that part.
Yeah, so here I think I can tell you why this wasn't a good decision.
Wait, which one? To run it?
To run it, yeah.
Okay, so you're with me.
There's Justin Herbert. I will just say this. I know the focus isn't the Chargers, but he had maybe the best game by any quarterback this season and was completely let down. And that final drive was the perfect example, right? Quentin Johnston had the game-winning touchdown. Yep. It hit him directly in the hands over the shoulder. Then it hit him directly in the chest. Then it hit him on his wrist. And then it hit the ground. If he just catches the ball, it's an easy game-winning touchdown, right? So the fact is you put yourself in a position where you're saying, Justin Herbert, we don't trust you in the Chargers offense to be able to score. And it turned out okay, right? Because it turns out
it worked out.
It turns out the Chargers just can't draft, and Quentin Johnston is a guaranteed bust.
Sorry.
All I'm saying is you don't want to play chicken with Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense too much. I didn't like the call, but it worked out. So what are you going to do?
I think the Chargers are the most disappointing team in the world in the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just so pathetic.
Well, we still talk about it.
I've been saying this forever.
No, the Chargers might be the most.
No, you say Herbert. You say Herbert.
You're anti-Herbert.
You hate Herbert.
I hate Herbert, but I think the Chargers, ever since Phillip Rivers, just
I mean, they're absurdly disappointing. Yeah,
Fat Phil's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but they've had really good quarterbacks, and they just can't. They can't do anything.
He had his 10th kid.
That's crazy. You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
The Chargers have they have a plus 21 points differential, and they're in 4th place.
No, you still talk about that. Well, that's the Herbert effect there. When you talk about them, and if you go to the Chargers, which we know already isn't really a home field advantage, but if you're playing LA, that's a tough game still. You still go, we could lose that because Justin Herbert's a maniac.
Yeah.
They just have they just find ways to lose.
I look at the schedule. Let's say like a decent team's going on the road to LA Chargers. I'm like, oh, like they could win that game, but they never do. Yeah, it's
frustrating. The fact that they're 4-6 and the fact that the Vikings lost to the Chargers is just, the Chargers are one of those teams that you find they always find ways to lose. The fact that the Vikings topped that, like, very on brand, but
they topped it. Yeah.
And you can see the meltdown, right? I mean, Brandon Staley's seat is getting warm. Every week, people keep asking him. People keep asking him every single week if he's going to stop calling the plays because the defense is so bad. He lit up a reporter for asking that.
Yeah, he's done it. At 4-6, it's over. I'm sorry, he's done. It's all done.
Who's on a hotter seat in LA? Brandon Staley or Lincoln Riley?
So Lincoln Riley just has more money guaranteed. So honestly, I will say this. I think Lincoln Riley has shown himself to be one of the most overrated college coaches of all time. He's good at one thing and one thing alone. Setting that aside, I don't want to talk too much college here, but Brandon Staley's not making it through the end of the season. I think the Chargers have to find something new.
Who's the biggest disappointment?
You're wasting every single year with Justin Herbert. You're wasting the prime of a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Who's the bigger disappointment this year, the Chargers or USC?
USC. Well, USC. I also called USC. I knew.
Well, no. USC got Kingsbury, and that was it. Didn't we all say once Kingsbury came down, Caleb Williams?
I said Caleb's overrated. They had like the 3rd best odds to win the national championship. I mean, this is absurd. They'll lose at least 4 games. I had this all on record.
No, we should go back and find it. He wrote FND on his fingernails.
Right. Then I said Kingsbury will come and screw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question:
USA.
Do we think Dorsey goes to the Chargers?
As what? Like head coach?
Dorsey flexion
as a head coach?
No. I
mean, think about how good he did with Allen. Herbert, not totally different than.
Well, I mean, he did okay. Like Allen,
Herbert doesn't. This is the thing. Herbert doesn't need a new head coach, right? The issue is not on the offense. The issue is there's 2 main issues of the Chargers. One is they just need a new general manager. They failed to surround him with talent.
Could he
bad free agent? Yeah.
Would Ben Johnson go to Chargers? You think is that a possibility? I'm trying to think of a couple candidates.
I mean, I think what you do is you bring in an offensive guy like Ben Johnson. Bring in a new general manager to go with him, somebody who can actually draft talent and sign decent free agents who you don't have to cut 1 year into like a $70 million contract, and hope things get better.
Yeah. We'll think about the Charger wish list of coaches. We'll have to think about a little bit, but I have to imagine Ben Johnson. That's just the name that's popping into my head right now. Well, with that said, we will wrap up today's show. We're going to be back recording tomorrow on Monday. We're going to record Tuesday as well with our preview show because it's Thanksgiving week. And then we're going to enjoy the holiday weekend.
Then it's Blackout Wednesday, baby.
It's Blackout Wednesday. Yeah. And we'll see what happens. And we'll see how much we remember that. But so we'll see you a couple more times this week. Hope everyone has a great start to their Thanksgiving week. And we will see you soon.